Hey guys, my Viking 2 here, back with a new Viking Orations. Got another review for you today, jumping back into the 2021 releases. We're going to start off with some Indiana metal here, much like this shirt that I'm wearing, which is a new design by Black & Thrasher's Wraith. Love this shirt. But the band I actually want to talk to you about today is Hatesong and their debut album, Chapel Rats. Now, if you're not familiar with Hatesong, they are a black metal band with elements of crust punk and D-beat in their sound that are from Indianapolis, Indiana. Been around since 2016, featuring Nick Ultra Jensen on the drums, Brett Kraut on guitars and vocals. He is formerly of another awesome indie black metal band, Hordes of the Nebula, as well as D.V. Karloff on bass. He also was a part of Hordes of the Nebula, among others. They do have two previous EPs, Puking Puke from 2016 and Unholy Shit from 2018, which I actually did a review of a little while back. And as I said, this is their debut full-length album put out by Metal Assault Records. It is 7 tracks, clocks in just a little over 34 minutes in length. And when you first start this album up, it has this really creepy intro with chains rattling and this slow piano part that just sounds like it's straight from a horror film. And then this kind of backwards spoken word sample comes in with these, demonic snarls over the top. And this entire intro is actually conceived and created by bassist D.V. Karloff, and he actually insisted that it be made part of the very first track and not a separate track unto itself, because let's face it, when you put an intro on an album, most people after the first time listening to it are going to skip straight over it. But in this case, you pretty much have to listen to that intro and all that hard work that he put into it before you even get into the actual music of the album. And that was a very smart thing on his part. And then, after about 1 minute and 40 seconds, things kick into high gear with this kind of death-like groove of that first opening track. And I gotta say, the guitar work on here is heavy and nasty sounding, mixing these kind of thrashy riffs with the more death metal and black metal style riffs with touches of melody sometimes, settling into a nice headbangable groove every now and then, which is always good. DV's bass tone is just thick, right up in the mix, just rumbling away and laying down a solid backbone throughout this entire album. Solid drum performance by Nick here. Really good snap to the snare, and I really like the kick drum sound that they got on this album. He does a lot of interesting patterns, rolls and fills, and really a lot of well-executed double bass throughout this whole thing, I think. And then Brett's vocals over the top are just still sick as fuck, mixing his kind of nasty black metal style shrieks and yells with these death growls, and even some spoken word parts, which are really cool as well. Some of the other things that I picked out here. Track number 3, the title track, Chapel Rats. I just love that kind of slow pace of the song. It's heavy and plodding with that rumbling bass, and it just, it just sounds absolutely nasty. And then about 3 minutes and 19 seconds into the song, this riff comes in that really reminds me a little bit of later era Immortal. And then even track number 4, which is a Black Sorceress. That also has a similar riff to it as well that gives off this later era Immortal vibe. And speaking of Black Sorceress, at the 440 mark, I love how it has this really slow tremolo style riff with the bass underneath doing this kind of slow melodic riff. And then the double bass sections, the spoken word passages that are in that song are really well placed, I think. And the last thing that I kind of picked out from this is track number 6, the Chaos Crusades. At 2:44, you start to hear these kind of subtle bits of creepy piano notes, and really adds to that kind of unsettling atmosphere. And I love the section at 3:24 where the guitars stop and you get this bass slide, and it's just the bass playing this really sick riff over a really slow drum beat with the guitars, finally roaring back into life at the 3:40 mark. Really awesome song. Yeah. Overall, one thing I do have to say, if you did not see my video where I unboxed this pre-order for this particular album, tragically, sometime before this album even got released, bassist D.V. Karloff suddenly and tragically passed away. So he is not around to see all the reactions to his music. But, you know, I gotta say, though, that, you know, these dudes seriously impressed me with the last EP that they put out, the one that I did a review of, and they honestly did not disappoint me with this debut full-length album. It's just 34 minutes of fast, nasty-sounding black metal that, you know, gets your head banging. And, you know, this is DV's last recording, but I can honestly say that he would have a lot to be proud of, as does, you know, Nick and Brett as well. You know, I know they are going to keep this band going, you know, not only just because, you know, that was what DV would want, but to also help keep his memory alive by playing these songs live and everything. And honestly, you know, he may be gone, but his legacy will definitely live on with this album and the other music that he has done, because he's been in a lot of other bands besides Hordes of the Nebula and Hatesong. So yeah, go check out Chapel Rats by Hatesong. I give this a solid 9.5 out of 10. I am constantly finding myself listening to this album. These guys really did an amazing job. They've stepped it up since their EP. And yeah, I will leave a link down below so you can check it out for yourself and give these guys some support. And yeah, that is going to do it. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. And until next time, stay brutal.